everybody, Cerise Wolfie. You already saw my 2 intros where I forgot to do my intro. Anyways, I'm back and we're doing another scary stories video. I'm going to be reading about 12. I'm bumping it up to 12 because these are actually kind of good. Maybe 10 because these are a bit longer. But we'll see as we go. Anyways, I hope you enjoy, and if you haven't subscribed, subscribe. If you haven't followed my Instagram, follow it. It's the same username that I use for my YouTube. So, now, let's get started. Oh, no, wait. No, wait. Redo. I need it. Alright, now let's get started. I feel evil. That's so magical. The first story we're going to call A Man in the Doorway. How wonderful. If you watched my first video, you know there's a hallway right there. Right there. True story time. I was about 4 or 5 years old and my parents had just separated. My mom was living in a 2-bedroom apartment. I live in a 2-bedroom apartment. Why did I agree to this? I had my own room. I don't have my own room. But I liked sleeping in her bed whenever I was staying with her. Our 2 bedrooms were at the end of the hallway, directly across from each other. Our apartment was on the first floor, and I remember that it was the middle of the summer, and my mom had a window open in her room that was directly behind the bed, above the headboard. Why do you have a window right there? That's scary. Anyways, I woke up in the middle of the night, and I remember sitting up and seeing that our cat was sitting in the doorframe of my mom's room. It was strange because our cat was a huge snuggler and wasn't typically always in bed with us. I hear noises, people upstairs. As I was watching him, he walked into my bedroom and meowed. I turned to face my mom and wake her up. In the 3-4 seconds it took her to wake up and ask me what was wrong, we both looked up into the doorframe and there was a man standing by my open door, making his way out of my bedroom. I still don't know how she managed to do it so quickly, but my mother proceeded to make me up and literally throw me out of the screen window. She quickly followed, and we were able to start screaming for help, and someone called 911. The police came but didn't see any signs of forced entry, only that our front door must have been unlocked, which led them to believe that the man must have exited that way. But the strangest thing is that my mom swore up and down that she had locked that door that night, with a deadbolt and a chain lock. About a week later, she was cleaning the kitchen and opened up a water heater closet and found a notebook with names and drawings, as well as a pair of gloves, some gun wrappers. The man had been in our house and hid until we were asleep. Alright, I'm gonna be creepy and read number. That's not a creepy number. 13. That's a creepy number. Ah! Sorry, I got scared by the picture. I'm stupid. Bad promotion. My ex-wife. My ex-wife had several weird experiences. I'll just relate this one. I'm at work one day and she calls me out of the blue. She usually did not call me during the day because she worked at the night shift. She tells me to call my friend Danny and make sure he and his family were okay. When I ask why, she tells me she had a dream but can't remember it. But I should call Danny and make sure he's okay. So I call Danny and check in with him. I tell him about my wife's dream. He's mildly amused, but tells me he and his family are fine, and to thank my wife for her concern. I call her back and let her know all is well. She is very dubious when she hears the news. I found out later that within half an hour of my phone call to Danny, he got another call from his uncle in Florida telling him that Danny's son had died. Ooh. 16! I didn't get scared by the picture that time. Freaking spiders. Oh no, I hate spiders. I got home from work late one night. Was walking onto my front stoop. It says stoop instead of step. Stoop. When I walked right into this huge spiderweb. Why is there a huge spiderweb on her front doorstep if she steps into her front doorstep every single day, unless she goes in through the back door? That's kind of weird. I didn't think much of it until I looked down and saw about 20 to 30 baby spiders all over me. I started freaking out. Then noticed the parents sitting on my front door. They were huge, bigger than a quarter. I'm not gonna go find a quarter right now. So of course I did not want to use the front door. I run to my back door. I throw all my clothes off and jump in the shower. I then watch as baby spiders begin falling out of my hair. I don't like spiders. Alright, my favorite number. Let's see how this is gonna be. 22! Ooh, this one's short. Unsettling. I moved to Montreal and got a new Canadian phone number. Canadian phone number? Over the next 8 months, I got texts and calls from French people at strange hours of the day asking for Nina, several times a month. On an April morning while I was in bed, I got a call from a withheld number from some French woman asking for Nina. Apparently, she was with Montreal police, and Nina had been missing for over a year. Why did they give her her phone number if she was missing? I mean, come on. I'm sure you need phone numbers, but a missing person's phone number? No. 44, because it's double 22. Let's go. Ooh, this one's long. It's called Time of Death. So about 9 or 10 years ago, I was friends with this guy that ran a land center? Ion center? If anyone knows what that means, please tell me. I have no idea what's going on. Not gonna Google it because I'm too lazy today. He would host gaming parties on Friday nights, and usually it would be packed with friends. The place was located inside an old shopping mall. Why? And you had to access it through the back door. Why? Where the night guard would let you in and out. Why? Why? This is the most dumb idea I've ever seen. So this Friday we all go and are having a blast. I decided to go for a food and drinks run before all the shops close. I thought it was an old shopping mall. This is a dark web shopping mall? I decide to go for food and drinks run before all the shops close, and I take everyone's orders. Head out the back door, and the back door is locked. I wait a minute, then call out for the guard. He appears from behind the door of his office and lets me out. I go and come back, and he's waiting for me. He opens the door, and I go back into the land center. Ion center. I think it's LAN. The weekend passed by, and on Monday, I decided to go hang out at the LAN at the center for a few minutes after school. I walk in the mall, and there's cops everywhere and an awful stench. The shops were closed, and the cops wouldn't let me stay for long. I thought the mall was old! So I decided to go back home. That night, the news reported that there was a murder at the shopping mall. That a lady had managed to find a place out. That one of the... No. What? I read that sentence completely wrong. Erase that. That a lady that managed the place found out that one of her guards was stealing, and after she confronted him, he killed her and stuffed her in garbage bags inside this locker. Weirdo. Weirdo for murdering her in the first place. What am I talking about? The murder took place the last Friday, and forensics estimate the time of death around 9 to 10 p.m. She went out at 9 to 10 p.m. After the newsman said this, my heart stopped. The TV showed a picture of the murder, and I immediately recognized it. It was the usual night guard. I get shivers just from remembering this. The time of death overlaps the time in which I went out for a food run that Friday night. And the back door was just a few feet away from the office in which the murder took place. Oh my goodness, I got scared by a notification on my phone. I thought that was something else. Let me take a deep breath. Look around. Okay, I'm gonna flip my... Scanning the area. No, we are good. Good. Thank you, computer. I read number 20. 20 seems good. 20 is a good number. What the... No. Not reading that one. All right. We already read 16. See, it's like I can't think of anything. Now, let's check another number. Magic number. Give me a number. 15? Wow, thanks. You guys are so kind. All right, 15. We said 15, computer. We said 15. What? Computer. Thank you, finally. What's in the trunk? I rode out in front of a car on my bike when I was 11, and the car honked really loud at me. I dumbly flipped the car off, and they came to a screeching halt. A huge guy stepped out and went to open his trunk. His girlfriend got out of the passenger side, crying and screaming, begging him not to open the trunk. I was frozen in fear. He got back in the car and sped off. I have no idea what was in the trunk. Hopefully not a fully automatic machine gun on a turret. That was a weird last sentence. That was a great guess, though, I guess. We're going to keep going down because I don't have brain power for this. 14. Ooh, this one's extremely short. Listening to your dreams. My granddad had a dream about his sister being in a plane crash, so he called her in the morning. She was fine, but planning for a short trip later that day to visit her son or something. He told her to postpone the day. The flight she would have been on crashed. Listen to your dreams, like the title said. We're going to read number 40. Nice. Number 40, silhouette. Oh no. Guys, I have a mannequin in my room. It casts silhouettes all the time. I grew up in a house that's pretty old. It was built in 1856. The dining room has a giant window facing the front porch. The porch wrapped? Did it wrap? That's how it's spelled. I'm pretty sure that meant wrapped. Probably. The porch wrapped, not wrapped around the house to the kitchen door on the side. There's a living room right next to the dining room that gives a perfect view of the window. One night, while I was visiting home from college, I was watching television in the living room. Ooh, college, where scary stories happen. I was the only one awake in the house. My mother was asleep, and my father and sister were elsewhere. I hear a small clicking noise and direct my eyes over to the dining room window, and I see a silhouette of a large man in a flannel coat, wearing a baseball cap. He was just standing at the window, facing into my house. My heart was about to explode, but I didn't move an inch. If he was watching me, I didn't want him to know that I saw him. I got up, walked over to the stairs, and as soon as I reached them, I sprinted up to my room. Yeah, sprint. I grabbed and loaded my .35 caliber Marlin 336C, I think that's a gun, and my uncle's combat knife that he used in Vietnam. Why didn't you call the police? What? I walked downstairs, threw on all the lights, and busted out the kitchen door as I grabbed my rifle. Firmly but without yelling, I said, "I have a gun. Come out and I won't shoot you." Two footsteps on the wooden porch. I swung around to the front porch, completely prepared to attack someone. But there was nothing. I spent about an hour searching around the 2.5-acre property for this person, but I never found anything. I didn't sleep that whole week. I wouldn't sleep too. I heard a noise. All right, we're going to ignore that noise and say, hey, if you silhouette, instead of grabbing your secretly stashed gun or knife, call the police. That seems like a great idea. I'm going to go with a random one and say 37. The darkest neighbor. Neighbors, we're talking to you, neighbors. But my grandmother was about 60. She lived in a nice cul-de-sac. Cul-de-sac is that circle thing, I think. Surrounded by woods. One of her neighbors was about 20 years old and lived with his mom. Ha! He lived with his mom. Just kidding, guys. I'm not laughing at that. Doesn't matter if you're 20 years old and live with your mom. Hey, maybe you're really rich and just miss your mom, okay? I'm not judging. I'm not saying anything. One day, he asked my grandma if she would mind showing him where the blackberry bushes are in the forest, because his mom wanted to make a pie. She says okay, grabs a basket and a flashlight, and they head off into the woods together. About half a mile in the woods, he attacks her. He pulls a knife from his pocket and slits her throat. She fights back and grabs her throat again, making blood pour from her neck. But he somehow didn't cut the arteries deep enough to kill her immediately. After a couple of minutes, she realizes there's no escape, so she pretends she's dead. Ha! That's what I say to people in horror movies. Pretend you're dead. You got hit hard? Pretend you're dead. They might be stupid and leave you alone. Let's see how this worked for her. Faking her breathing while he took her off. I'm not going to read that rest part. All right, she stays still about 5 minutes, bleeding out before she thinks the coast is clear. She eventually comes up on a small road and collapses in front of an oncoming car. The people in the car stop just in time and bring her to a hospital. She survived. I don't like that one. That one was really weird. I'm creeped out. That one really creeped me out. I'm glad I didn't read the rest because it would creep you out too as well. All right. The one I don't usually go with. 23. 23. Wow! This one's just titled, Wow! That's what I feel right now. Wow! It's all in caps too. About 2 years ago, my ex and I went through a really nasty breakup. Lots of crying and nasty words said. It became apparent that she had a lot of emotional problems and really wasn't the person I thought she was. Lots of anger and lots of lying, as I discovered. And to make things stranger, she is the one who dumped me multiple times. Multiple times. So why did you get back together? What? And was absolutely furious when I finally accepted it and told her it was time for her to go. I wasn't exactly perfect here either, but that's what happens. It also started a new and healthy relationship at this point, maybe 3 weeks after my primary wake-up, which made her angry off to no end. Anyway, she shows up one day to collect some belongings that were still at my place, and she sits me down on the bed and hands me a note telling me to read it out loud. It's a bad speech about how I'm incapable of love and a terrible person and deserve to die. Okay. I refused, but she's screaming at me, and I was like, fine, I'll read it, and if it'll make you go away. So I finished this speech, and she pulls out a loaded gun from her purse and spends the next 15 minutes trying to muster the will to pull the trigger and splatter my brain all over the wall. She says she knows the law. She knows she'll be caught. She knows she'll go to prison, and she's fine with it because I'll be off this planet. So I spend this time trying to poorly, not totally freak out, and with a tear streaming down my face, telling her that she's not a killer. She just needs to go live her life without me. We parted with a hug, and I just learned she got engaged to a new guy a couple of months ago. To be honest, that's pretty psycho. Be careful. That's all I'm saying. Just be careful. We're going to read one last one. The last one here. 50. Nope, we're not reading 50. 29. Are we reading 29? Computer, are you letting me read 29? 29! Gentle Ghost. Ooh, a ghost story. This one's pretty short. I'll just read it anyways and read another one. Fell asleep in my living room after my parents had left for a date. I was deep asleep when I felt my hair being petted. I thought maybe I just didn't hear my folks come in. Opened my eyes to no one there. Still creeps me out. I'm good. Alright, this is going to be the last one to read. 17. Creepy old people. Old people are nice. My sister and I were playing outside when we were younger, and an elderly couple was walking by our yard. Our yard had a cemetery in the back. I sound like a country person. But why does your yard have a cemetery in the back? Why would you buy that house? Unless it was like $10. The only reason I would buy a house like that is if it was $10. Why would you live near a cemetery? It was quite a common local attraction for tourists, as this house was built in the 1800s. Oh, I thought the tourists were attacked to the cemetery, and I was like, who is buried there? Dead people. Ha! Anyways, most of the graves were from children who died back from the flu and etc. There are some creepy stories from that place, but nothing lives up to what happened all those years ago. Playing outside, and this old couple kept pestering my sister about what her name was, as they approached us and got closer. We were just little kids and got terribly scared, and ran inside and told our mom what had happened. The following week, I heard a story about the news on an elderly couple approaching a teenage girl, kidnapping her, and keeping her. And it was the same couple as that have approached my sister and I. Alright, we're gonna end on that note. People that are elderly are nice, and people in general are nice. But guys, just plain flat, be careful. Boooohahaha. No, I need the light to say goodbye. Anyways, that's it for today. So, like I said in the beginning, if you're not subscribed, please subscribe. Next week, I'll be posting on Slice of Life. So, if you're interested or actually want to comment on some series I should do, head over to my Instagram. Check it out. Might be fun. I know a bunch of people spend 1 to 3 hours on Instagram. I only spend 30 minutes, about 10 minutes for each of my 3 accounts. My personal account, my dog's account, go follow him. It's Coco Chanel Pamphil. I'm pretty sure. If not, I'll put it in the description. It probably isn't. And my third channel, my YouTube channel, there's a shadow on my well, that's my TV. All right, that's it for today, and I'll see you guys on Tuesday or tomorrow. I don't know, whatever I feel like.